What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transportation Wannabe. Just wanted to kind of come in with a quick TNT Training update. Now, a lot of you guys have been watching my channel know that I decided to stay on with my trainer. I was never in any rush to run out and get a truck. That's just not, I mean, patience is a virtue, right? So I was never in a rush to go do that. And then after I started feeling comfortable enough to go get my truck, I started thinking about the lease situation, and starting a business at the end of the year, if it's preventable, is always going to be best. So I may stay on here till January unless something else comes up before then. As far as my miles go, got to be somewhere around 80,000 miles, something like that. No critical events, not one. Haven't hit anything, just been rolling. You know, some of the progression, if you watch some of my earlier videos, the mountains in Pennsylvania was killing me. You know, some of you new guys, you know, just realize everything's going to get easier. Really, the only thing that makes me feel uncomfortable now, and I haven't dealt with snow or anything like that, but driving in cities near rush hour before it's really rush hour. So it's not like this stop and go stuff where you're going kind of slow. It's like maybe traffic's going like 65, somewhere in there, people cutting in and out, you know, things like that. So that just makes me feel a little uncomfortable. You know, just got to keep telling myself all I got to do is stay in my lane. You know what I'm saying? So not really, I mean, pay attention, but you know, you can't be overly focused on or distracted, should I say. You can't be overly distracted by a lot of this other stuff. So that's really the only thing that kind of irritates me that's on the top of my head. You know, still, just like anybody else, you know, I think it takes a long time to perfect your backing and things like that. And my trainer is such a good backer. You know, sort of like when somebody asks me, you know, what's your recipe for this, or how do you cook that? You know, I just throw things together. And while I'm mentioning cooking, listen, if you haven't checked out my barbecue and cooking page, No Hippie Barbecue and Cooking, we're at about 31,000 subscribers over there. Run over there and take a look and see what's up over there. Like I said, No Hippie Barbecue and Cooking. I digress. Let's talk about the backing. So my trainer is so good that it's kind of hard for him to teach, because he's one of them people that just, I mean, it's just in, boom, every time, barely no pull-ups, none of that stuff. It's just, so sometimes when people are that good at things, you know, trying to say, okay, so I might be looking at a tough angle or something that might be a little something that I haven't seen before, and, you know, I may ask him, you know, how would you approach it? And sometimes it might be hard for him to, you know, I mean, he can tell me, but I can't explain it. But anyway, anybody that's thinking of, or that's about to get out there with their trainers, I'm sure your trainer is going to tell you if you're going to be out on TNT. Your trainer may not always be up and around when you're pulling into truck stops or rest areas or fuel islands or just whatever you're pulling into. Watch that trailer. I'm telling you, I've seen more videos about people in training that have tore stuff up not looking at their trailers, and you know, you see a lot of it out here as well. So always check that trailer. Don't take anything for granted. Even if you think there's enough room, listen, if you're just starting, you don't know how much is enough room. Nothing wrong with being overly cautious. Another thing, depending on how your PSD training went, this is for prime people. If you did your training on the pad and did not go out with the PSD trainer driving around, one thing I'm going to tell you to do is let your trainer know that you have not got any training on air brakes. I think my first trainer that we ended up parting ways. Assume that I knew that, so I'm dealing with these mountains in Pennsylvania, and with really a vague, I barely knew how to use the Jake brakes properly. And I'll be honest with you, when people say that, I think I was watching a training video, or not a training, I was watching a Friday safety meeting at Prime, and somebody had said, mentioned that, you're going to want to quit. Everybody in here is going to want to quit at some point. That day, or that night, going through Pennsylvania mountains, not really knowing how to use Jake brakes, with it raining, with construction, almost had me quit. I pulled over twice in rest areas to compose myself. So just realize when you're out there, there's going to be times they're going to be making you feel uncomfortable, but every day you get more and more comfortable with it. So if you feel panic, things like that, I'm going to assume that just about everybody that's been a truck driver felt that at one point or another. Anyway, guys, that is about it. Trying to think if there's anything else. Just got back from home time. Not sure if I mentioned that earlier or not, but somebody came by and asked me for money, so I had to start this video over again. Funny story about that later on, but got back off of home time and was home for about 20 days. Been back out for about 6 days. We've been kind of running all over the place. We started off in Denver, Utah, Idaho, Denver, Kansas, on our way to Atlanta, Miami. So that's kind of what our deal is there. As far as the guy asking for money, if I have the money to give, and they're not asking for too much, I'll give it. And back in the days when I was in the mortgage business, whenever I was in a slump, I used to always go out and actually try to find a homeless person to give some money to, because it always seemed like it would break my slump. So anyway, hopefully that's gonna give me some good luck down the road. I want to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation Wannabe. I do appreciate it. Comment, subscribe. I'm out.